So you mentioned several things there. So not just diversity from a race, et cetera, piece, but then when you get into like having Braille or having now, let's say, all these mandates from the state on from a COVID perspective on things that you need to do in your business, like where does a business look at something like diversity, equity, and inclusion, and include from the inclusion standpoint, include that into kind of their budget of stuff? Because I feel like a lot of businesses would agree that they want this stuff to be there, but maybe the business from a budgetary standpoint doesn't allow their business to have the trainings of the world, the PowerPoints of the world, the Braille on the walls of the world. And now, like we had someone on recently who said, I have so many mandates, I don't know how to pay for any of this stuff, and it's hard enough to get people in. So for a business that agrees or disagrees with having diversity, DEI things in their business, how does a business actually look and pay for those things or include those things so that they don't go under?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Especially in the current COVID-19 pandemic that we're living in now, people just don't, they're losing resources. They don't know where you're going to get this money to pay for these extra things that Ronnie from the chamber is telling you to do. And the thing is that you have to be inclusive. The word of the day is inclusive, right? You have to put yourself out there in groups that you would not normally work with. We saw what happened when people were scavenging for toilet paper and stuff. You have to look at supplier diversity. You have to go out and associate people that you don't always associate with. And that's where your organization can thrive. So maybe you can't go out and put this elaborate program together and address all these strategic plans for diversity, equity, and inclusion. But what you can do is connect with the organizations in your community. And you can always ask who's doing it right and how do I get started? So say you want to address, people being more inclusive in your organization, and you want to hire a person on staff to say, Ronnie, we need the Braille. We need to address issues in our community. How can we start addressing childcare needs of our employees? Well, if you want to do that, there's subject matter experts everywhere. And the only thing we're doing is hurting ourselves by not reaching out to someone that we don't know. When people were hurting for toilet paper and supplies, they were looking at Amazon and Walmart and it wasn't there. How many of the people in SBDC are just starting their businesses and they're craving to get out there and to be known, that have these supplies, that have these things that, hey, you know what? I'm just starting out. Let me come help your organization out. Let's get my name out there as well. And then let me help you decide to come up and be diverse and inclusive. Let's put a plan together. So you don't always have to go out and have this elaborate plan. What you have to do is want to educate yourself and want to make sure you get those networks, that communication working, because someone out there wants to show you their talent and their skills, and they're willing to come into your organization and do so. You just have to invite them in. We don't just, usually you go to a door and it's locked or it's not open. You got to knock and be invited in. You don't just walk in. So it's on those organizations to reach out and learn something new by connecting with people. And I guarantee there's help there.
Well, and the thing about it is, and as me as an entrepreneur, one that works with entrepreneurs, I mean, I'm a very optimistic person. I try to be as positive as I possibly can be. But I'm going to jump on one of the things that bothers me, soapbox for a second. And the thing about it, like in today's society in general, everybody wants to take the easy way. Nobody wants to challenge themselves. Nobody wants to make themselves uncomfortable. They just want life to come easy. And when it comes to a topic like this, before the show, we were talking about the parallelisms between working out and diversity and inclusion. Well, this is one of these parallelisms in the sense of, you know what? When you go and work out, the first time that you run around the block, the next day you're going to be sore because your muscles aren't used to working like that. And you know what? The first time you have this conversation about diversity and inclusion, it's going to hurt. It's going to make you uncomfortable. But the thing about it is, if you want to make a change for yourself, you've got to push through the pain and you've got to endure that. And that's the only way that you're going to make a positive change. So that's my challenge to the people that are listening out there is, seek that uncomfortable zone and embrace it. Strengthen that uncomfortable muscle and learn something new. That's my soapbox, guys. So
no, I before you say anything, right? It's interesting because like I'm just like writing little notes of like things, and so when I work out, I typically listen to an audiobook. Unless I'm trying to go fast, then I listen to my Taylor Swift mixtape. Hey, there's nothing the matter with listening to a little Tay-Tay while you're trying to run fast. You know, nothing like 13-minute miles. I'm kidding. So a book that I read recently was called The Notorious RBG about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And it's just like mind-boggling to me, like politics aside, Supreme Court aside, just like it's mind-boggling to me that think that 70 years ago, some of these things that weren't in place. And so you sit there and you see this lady who's really trying to like push some of this stuff, and you're just like, what? Like how like why? And so like it's just, I guess it's the course that we have to go through. Is this stuff is going to go away, and it's just that it was shocking to me that even though I had learned these things over the years, I forgot about them, I guess. And then this woman really pushed for a lot of stuff from a female perspective, and it's cool to see. And I had signed up for this. Someone, I guess, loved her so much they created this race, this virtual 5K for her called like the Notorious RBG Run or something like that. And so like it's just interesting that there are these individuals who really push through and become that that icon for a movement, if you will. And it's powerful. So
no.
Yeah. I think one of the best books that I read in 2020, I'm just get fired up when it comes to this topic, and I have so many things that I want to talk about, but one of the best books that I read in 2020 is Love Leadership. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but that was
who wrote that?
Changing. It was written by John Hope Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
But it was awesome. I mean, it totally opened up my eyes, and it was very profound in the sense of just leading through love versus leading through control.
But don't you think like a lot of the reason is kind of back to the fitness world? So like we love on the show, Ronnie, to talk about the parallels of things other than the thing that you're trying to fix. Yeah. And so fitness is a good one since Tim works out like crazy and I'm trying to follow in his footsteps. But like it comes back to, I'm basically lazy. I don't care about that thing. Right. And so as blatant and as blunt as that is, it seems like a lot of people just don't care about diversity and inclusion. They're lazy about it and just let it continue to go, just like their health and working out and stuff like that. I mean, how many people have been talking about COVID as this disastrous thing and not thinking about, it seems like all the healthy people in the world who work out are being fine, right? You hear all these athletes that get it, yet none of them have real issues whatsoever. Is that because they're healthy people? And so this is actually a problem for people who are unhealthy, and we need to be fixing that. And so it seems like there's a ton of parallels in all of this.
Yeah.